Speaking about the Prestige edition of the Call of Duty Black Ops, why did you put an RC model vehicle in there?
Because, well, it's interesting. The Prestige editions are really popular, and fans want to play. The hardcore fans who really are into Call of Duty and want these Prestige things, they want them for a couple of reasons. First, they want something that is maybe functional. The RC car is something that is interactable. You can actually drive it around. But also, some people just want it to be on their shelf to complement their Call of Duty collection. So it'll come with a stand, and it's modeled after the in-game kill streak reward, the RCXD, which is a little remote control car with a C4 strapped to it. The explosives in our Prestige edition are sold separately, so you're going to have to pick them up somewhere else. But the car, it has up to a 200-foot range. It transmits wirelessly video and audio back to your controller. So it's a full-blown surveillance vehicle now. It's something that's fun. It'll be fun to drive around. I mean, who didn't like RC cars when they were a kid, right? And what are we but kids trapped in adults' bodies? So.
Agree. About the single-player campaign, in the past of the series, there were some complaints about the fans. Oh, it's too short. I'm through in 5 hours, 6 hours. So you're aiming for a longer single-player campaign with about 10 or maybe 12 hours or stuff like that.
We just don't know if the game's not done yet. I don't know about that. It'll probably be comparable to like World at War's length, but that's don't you wouldn't want to quote me on that. It's not for sure. Whatever we wind up with, we have a very specific story to tell. It's a very deep and complex story. So whatever we need, whatever levels we need to tell that story coherently and not have it be confusing or have plot holes, then that's how many levels will be in the game.
So no details about the play length.
Yeah, no, we're just not sure yet.
All right.
Can you talk a bit about the challenge of working with different locales? Like your game is sent in different countries. I think different languages as well. The enemies speak their own language or English.
Enemies will have their own language for sure. It's not all English. You probably saw that in the demos that you were watching. The other locales, there's locales all around the globe. We've only confirmed Southeast Asia, Vietnam and Laos, and Soviet Russia up in the Ural Mountains with WMD. So those are the only two we've revealed. We don't want to reveal more because it's part of the story. We don't want to spoil it.
But when you work on level which is in Russia or in Laos,
yeah.
Do production people actually go to Russia? Do you hire Russian speakers?
Yes. Yeah. So we do a ton of research. Pretty much every department does their own research for whatever they're trying to make, whether it's a weapon or an area that they're trying to cover. We flew in an advisor from a former Russian Spetsnaz operative. In fact, his name is Sonny Puzikas, and if you Puzikas, I think is how you spell that. If you just Google some of his stuff, you'll find him. He's the real deal. He's very, very intimidating. He basically came in and he gave us a seminar on the Spetsnaz tactics and the kind of weapons that they would use. And it started off as the Soviet Spetsnaz seminar, and it turned into the How Many Ways Can Sonny Kill or Maim You seminar. So
put him and hang in one cage.
And oh boy, no comment. But he came in and told us a number of things. First of all, he showed us how many different ways he could disarm us and break our limbs, and that was great. He said he was moving at half speed, but it was like very painful still. So I would hate to see his full speed. He showed us this technique that they were trained with called getting off the X. Basically, they were taught to identify when a muzzle was pointed at them, and let's say this is the muzzle, and it becomes second nature, like breathing or like walking, to just move. Just even the slightest motion, because bullets travel straight. I'm still in front of the gun, but the bullet's going to miss me now. It's going to go over my shoulder. So they whether it's that or whether it's a duck or a roll, it's just second nature to them. It's a reflex. So that's how they can survive. And he told us other stories about how his training, the first thing that they did was sent him downrange without a gun towards the targets and shot live ammunition at him. and they need to learn what it's like to get shot at and feel that fear, so that way when it happens on the battlefield, they're used to it and they're comfortable with it. Which is just weird. You would never hear that, like in the U.S. Army, the U.S. military, they don't train like that. They would never train like that. So it's really, really impressive. So we were able to build an AI type in the game out of that. So our Spetsnaz operatives in Black Ops are going to be a very formidable opponent, even to a seasoned Call of Duty player. They're going to be aggressing the entire way through. They're going to be very hard to sight on and actually shoot, because they're going to be getting off that X. It's going to be, it should be a nice challenge, a really nice change of pace from your other traditional, enemies in the game. We have 3 main AI types. You got the North Vietnamese Army, which is more of a traditional organized military, like the U.S. You have the VC, the Viet Cong, and they're more like guerrilla warfare. They're disorganized. They just sort of throw themselves at you and try to kill you. And then these Spetsnaz, who are basically the Russian Black Ops. These guys were just as trained as we were.
How much does the Black Ops setup influence the gameplay itself, and for example the weapons? About special tactics and stuff like that.
Yeah. The teams we brought in from the SOG side of things, the Studies and Observations group. We brought in a former SOG veteran. His name is Major John Plaster. And he's got a book published. We got his book. We read his book. We brought him in, and his seminar was a little bit less intense than Sonny's, but it was still very, very interesting, because the stories he told us and the anecdotes were unbelievable. The stuff that they actually did, in real life, it rivals some over the top sequences you see in action films, like Rambo, and these guys were really doing this. And so they would tell us about how they would modify their weapons and pack their own ammunition. So we were able to use that and put that into the game. So we have variable ammunition types. You got your crossbow bolt, or you can switch to your explosive tipped crossbow bolt, or you got your shotgun rounds, or you can change to the incendiary dragon's breath round. When you think about modifying your weapons, that plays really well into the theme of create a class and multiplayer, and how you can modify with attachments and whatnot. So all of that really just felt natural. It was a good fit anyway. Plaster also told us a story about his unit. One of his squad mates would always bring a bow and arrow into combat, and these guys were dropping behind enemy lines, so every item they took with them was like a big decision. It was a big deal, because they couldn't get it's not like they could have a care package flown in. It's not a video game. So to them, if this guy brought a bow and arrow in, that's a big clunky thing on his back he's got to carry for his entire mission. And they said primarily it was used for hunting. You got to be able to hunt and eat without setting off raising any red flags when you're behind enemy lines. But if it was also used from time to time for a stealth kill, nobody would know, right? It's classified. So we took that, and that was the inspiration behind our crossbow in the game.
As a company, Treyach has shifted to focus purely on Call of Duty.
Yes.
And since then, Infinity Ward has seen a bit of a collapse. Do you see yourselves as the primary developers of Call of Duty?
No, we don't really think of it like that. We're still set out to make Call of Duty Black Ops. We're the primary developers of Call of Duty Black Ops. That's our only charge right now, and we've remained undeterred, unaffected, unaltered in our course, which is to deliver the best game we can possibly make. Honestly, and we put ourselves in a great position to really make the best game we've ever made.
Do you work on download content, and what can you expect? Only multiplayer, or maybe single player missions?
We're not working on downloadable content now. We're just focusing on making the game. If we do wind up doing downloadable content, of course, you'll hear it from me. You can follow me on Twitter, JD_2020, or you can become a fan of the Facebook page or subscribe to the website. If you do one or all of those things, you're not going to miss an announcement like that.
So how far from Goldmaster are you?
We're pretty damn close. We're probably 5 or 6 weeks out to submission. So I don't know about Goldmaster. That's a tough call, but we're running out of days. we're running out of time. I think everybody back at Treyach would love to invent the 36-hour workday.
All right, we're through.
Thanks, guys.
The guy's throwing us out now. Yes.